Little clarification for this video. Spoiler alert, this is not a reaction. This is by no means a reaction. Okay, so the green-eyed blonde is named Meliodas, and this is his talking pig, Hawk. We'll get to the girl later. Meliodas is the owner of a bar or a tavern in a medieval setting of Britannia, Great Britain, and we open the story with people in the cavern speaking of a mysterious guy roaming the forest in rusty armor when, lo and behold, said knight appears in the tavern. This scares the hell out of the patrons and they run for it. Meliodas, instead of running, checks as to the knight is, and the guy collapses on him. The knight's not a knight, it's a pretty girl. Her name is Elizabeth. Meliodas takes her into his bedroom, lies her down, checks her out. Yeah, Meliodas is a pervert. And she wakes up at the start. So, who is this girl? Well, as I said, her name is Elizabeth, and she is the princess of the kingdom. And she is looking for the 7 deadly sins. Who are the 7 deadly sins? 7 awesome warriors who were wanted for trying to overthrow the kingdom a few years ago. They were the head knights of the kingdom and a task force of criminals giving special orders permission by the king. And they were charged for about 10 years ago of overthrowing trying to overthrow the kingdom. Only, no, they were framed by the king's actual regular king knights. And why were they framed? We'll get to that. Not in this book, but we'll get to that. That's just anyway. Elizabeth, recently, the knights of the kingdom have captured the king and locked him up, and Elizabeth has escaped and is looking for the 7 deadly sins because the real knights of the kingdom are really running the place ragged and turning it into a shithole and ruling it with an iron fist. And when the king was captured, Elizabeth was the only one able to escape. And so now she's looking for the 7 deadly sins because if the knights are the true enemies, how bad can the sins be? So Elizabeth gets to know Meliodas. Meliodas is being a little mysterious and whatnot. And he gives her food. Meliodas is a shit cook, by the way. And they bond a little bit. And then they get a knock on the door. And it's a group of small knights. You see, there are 2 factions of knights. They're called the Holy Knights and the Regular Knights. The Holy Knights are the top tier knights. They're the most powerful knights of the kingdom, and the regular knights are dream is to become a holy knight. No one can beat the holy knight. And the 7 deadly sins, by the way, were much stronger than a regular holy knight. So anyway, these regular knights come open to the tavern because the people in the tavern thought that the rest knight, Elizabeth, was one of the 7 deadly sins. And yeah, at this time, the 7 deadly sins are still at large. It's been over 10 years and not a single one of a person has seen them. People assume the 7 deadly sins are dead, but they kind of don't because the wanted posters get updated every single year, so they still have to be at large. Anyway, these knights coming, and Meliodas, he gets them. He opens them up, and they demand the holy knight, the rest knight, and out comes Hawk in the armor. So these knights aren't having any of it, and then Elizabeth bolts out the back way. The smaller knights chase after her and into the forest, and Hawk plows right through them and throws one of them off a cliff. And Meliodas saves Elizabeth. So at this point, Elizabeth hasn't filled Meliodas in on the situation. She has now, and so we're filling her in, and then someone slices the slice of land off the cliff, and it's this guy. He's a weird talker. He's a real asshole. So the knights would say, "Sir, what about the other guy? He was down there too." Well, this guy goes, the verdict? To kill by accident in pursuit. But sir, the other guy was down there. Then we'll make that 3. But sir, do you want to make that 7? No, sir. But no, Meliodas saved all 3 of them. 4 of them with the pig. Because the pig is a pig. So the guy gets suspicious, and the guy recognizes Princess Elizabeth, and so yeah, the princess is brought back, right? Nope. He sends her to death for running away because they can't have any witnesses, like anyone know about anything. Elizabeth bolts into the forest, and the guy slashes the forest up with a single bit. And Meliodas saves her. And Elizabeth says, "I can't let this guy harm you. You, the only one who helped me, so I have to give myself up if only I can protect you." Meliodas, the guy slashes her again, and Meliodas protects her, and Elizabeth starts crying because she's very emotional. Elizabeth has had a very short few days. This only happened a few days ago, and she had a very short few days. And so Elizabeth asked her, crying in tears, they're about to die. She asked, "What's his name?" And Meliodas says, "Meliodas." And Meliodas is the 7 deadly sin, dragon sin of wrath, Meliodas. Yeah, each Sing has a tattoo on them for their respective Sing. And Meliodas is the Dragon Sing of Wrath. This freaks the guy out, and he blasts Meliodas as hard as he can, and the guy goes flying. So Meliodas says Elizabeth found her first Sing, and he says he's also been looking for the other Sings because he has business to take care of with them, and he asks Elizabeth to join him. Actually, she says yes. So, they get on a giant pig because the tavern is on the top of a giant pig. It's a traveling tavern, and this giant pig is Hawk's mom. Just roll with it. So, anyway, Elizabeth gets suited up and hired on as a waitress at the bar for information's sake to find out info on where the location of the seven giggly Sings might be. And so Hawk's mom is headed towards a village, and this village is supposed to be have the finest ale in the land. So they head out, and they notice the river's dried up. What? That's odd. The river's dried up, and the plants along the river are all dried up. And so they notice a bunch of people in the town and assume it's a festival. The people yell at them because it's not a festival, because what happened is days ago, a holy knight jammed his sword in the town town's water system, causing magic to sing out and causing the rivers to dry up. And he did this because a little boy insulted him by throwing a bug into his wine. Because why the little boy threw his bug into this wine is because the holy knight was insulting the town and treating him like dirt, and the little boy had enough of it and insulted the town, and that was his way of giving him a piece of his mind. So in retaliation from this insult, the guy jams his sword into the town and cuts off the water supply. And we meet this town at this point because the town is angry at the little boy for causing all this, and they actually stone him out of town. So we go along, learn more about the little boy. Basically, his family, his parents were travelers, and he was born in this town, and they sort of died shortly after he was born, and the town raised him, but he never really felt one with the town. Everyone else had parents, and he never did. So that's about that. So he causes pranks because he's all lonely and whatnot. And then we learn what happens with the town and the swordsman and all that. And so then these two guards come up, and the little pissant guards, these types, they're the underlings with absolutely no power, but they give off, they're allowed to threaten the people with the power above them because you just know it. So they say if the town can pull out the sword within 1 hour, their taxes will go up 10 times over. That would literally destroy the town because the water's the the water to brew the beer is the only way to make money for the town, and the town is the water is blocked off by the sword. So you get the idea. So the town is freaking out, cursing out the little boy, and then the village elder comes in and says, "Enough is enough." The little boy only said what was everyone else was going. And then the little boy, so the town and I guess Attempt goes out at full force. The little boy jumps in, helps out. They go all for it, and they're all for it, and it fails. And the town is sad. And then Meliodas comes up, touched by the boys' story. We're doing the right thing, and pulls out the sword. And the pissing soldiers are blasted away by a giant gallon of water, rushing back into town. So, and then Meliodas and Elizabeth push the boy to go back into the town, and the boy and the town accept each other, and Meliodas is seen as the hero of the town. Yay. Yay, Meliodas, hero of Yay Town. So, word gets back to the guy who... word gets back to this guy who jammed the sword into the town and cut out the water. His name is Gilthunder, and he has lightning powers. But word gets back that a young boy, all by himself, pulled out the sword, and he thought, impossible. But on that later. So, meanwhile, everyone is headed to the boar house. Is at the boar hack for a celebration to pay patronage to Meliodas for saving the town, and Elizabeth is set to work, and she sucks at it. She's trying to listen to gossip and dropping drinks and whatnot, what have you. Everyone forgives you, but you get the idea. But meanwhile, having heard of the situation, Gilthunder takes a spear and literally hurls a lightning bolt spear in the direction of the town from his tower miles away. So Elizabeth, all hurt and whatnot, storms out in tears and sits on the ground outside the bar, all crying and whatnot. Meliodas seems to... But before this happens, Meliodas senses something. He actually senses the spear coming for him. And so Meliodas goes outside and he's not really comforting Elizabeth, but he's there to catch the spear and look for it and prevent the spear from destroying the town, because, yeah, that's what the spear is headed for daring to defy the Holy Knights. The Holy Knight now decides to destroy the town for defying their punishment. And so Meliodas is out there looking for the spear, and Elizabeth just opens up, says how worthless she is and whatnot, and says she's useless and a princess can't do anything and she can't do anything, and how can a princess do anything if she can't do anything? And Yeah, I saw her Peggy, but that's just basically what it boils down to. And she can't save the kingdom if she's just as useless. And Meliodas replies with, but she found him, and so she must be doing something right. But then the spear comes and crashes. Meliodas catches the spear and crashes all the way through the town, causing a massive crater line. But Meliodas finally stops, gets his bearings, and hurls the spear back at Gilthunder. And boom! Just barely misses him. This convinces Gilthunder that so they really are alive. The 7 deadly things. So Meliodas saves the town and whatnot, and the next day they're on their way to a forest that Elizabeth did overhear them saying is something about. You see, there's this forest on the outskirts of town that is covered in fog, and hunters and travelers are rightfully to take the long way around because the fog causes them to get lost, and not even the holy knights go into the forest. So this convinces them that maybe a 7 deadly thing is hiding in the forest, and so they head out. So they go into the forest, they're on their way searching things and whatnot, and Meliodas purrs on Elizabeth a bit, and then they all of a sudden, and so Hawk tells them to come on guys, stop dilly-dallying, and bam, multiple hawks. And this is weird. They can't tell Hawk apart. They're all quite hard on, and Meliodas just beats the hell out of them. And so all the hawks race behind Elizabeth, and boom, hawks on out Elizabeth. And Meliodas can't tell a single person apart, so he tells them to do stupid things to him and whatnot, and finally to all jump in the air, and the real Elizabeth just cannot jump into the air, and that proves to him who are the fakes, and Meliodas destroys all the fakes. And who are the fakes? Let's see. The fakes are just shape-shifting prankster goblins that shape-shifting prankster all the way to confuse people. And how did Meliodas know that? No, Elizabeth wouldn't jump? Because he stole her underwear. So they chase the goblins back to their hideout, and they come across this giant girl with a tattoo on her thigh. And this is Diane. Deanne. I'm calling her Diane, or I'm going to call her Diane because I'm just going to call her Diane because I'm going to keep confusing it with Deanne, but it's Diane, I don't know. So, Diane. So, the goblins wake Diane with the knowledge that they've let a holy night through. Diane wakes up with a start, grabs Meliodas, and thinking he's a holy night, Meliodas says, "Yo, Diane," and Diane is just the happiest to see him. Elizabeth says hi to Diane. Diane asks, who Elizabeth is. Elizabeth says she's traveling with the captain. Says, Diane asks if it's just her and the captain, plus one pig. Diane, Elizabeth says it, and well, you don't say. Indeed. You cheater! Because Diane thinks Diane is the captain's fanboy. Diane is Meliodas' fanboy. And Diane goes all along a tirade and nearly destroys the place. Finally, Meliodas and Elizabeth calm Diane down and explain the situation to her. Diane feels awful and says, Diane is glad. You sure you're not in that kind of relationship with the captain? Don't forget, neither are you and I. What? And then, but anyway, so Meliodas asks Diane a simple question. What happened that day that the knights, that the seven giggly things had to go over and had to be running, going to hiding because he actually forgets. The last thing he remembers is the head cat holy knight calling the seven giggly things in to what they thought was scolding for what they happened. They get to the holy knight and he's all speared with spears and whatnot and just a gruesome mess. Then all of a sudden, the entirety of the kingdom surrounds the tower, and this makes them realize that they've been set up. They're the ones who are now looking like they killed the captain. They're set to. Meliodas tells them to split up and head out somewhere, and we'll meet up back later. And then someone says, I'm sorry, Captain, to Meliodas, and that's the last thing they know about. Diane agrees to help Meliodas, and like all of a sudden, a storm opens up, and lightning shoots from the sky, and traps Meliodas and Diane, and Guild Thunder has arrived, and at last, we meet at last, Seven Giggly Things, a holy night, and we're done. Because of course we're done. Because this is a manga, we're done. Manga, we're done. Manga. So, obvious question is obvious. Do I like it? Duh. So, how is the art? I don't know why I asked this. I have no real taste in this. The art is fine. I like it. It's pleasing to look at. It's easy to follow. All that nonsense. I'm of course continuing this series just because it gives me more content to go. But I also like reading it too. So, yeah. All well and good. What else can I talk about? Can I talk about anything else to extend the time even longer? No, I cannot. So, there we have it. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe as you want. I'm Tony the Video Geek, and I will see you next time. Wow.